In this video, we will talk about all the things that you need to know before purchasing a condo unit here on the Big Island of Hawaii. But first things first, can purchasing a condo in Hawaii become a bad decision? With condos starting at around $400,000, it has become the best landing pad for many. So in order to have a successful purchase, you need to ask the right questions while you're going through your due diligence period. So let's touch on leasehold and fee simple properties. So leasehold are priced very inexpensive. Usually they start at around $130,000. These purchases can only be cash, and for the most part, they're a lease, right? On these units, they may expire in 10 years. There's some that do have a 30-year leasehold period, and the longer the lease, the higher the price. So when does it make sense to purchase a leasehold property? If you get a pretty good deal and the complex is approved for short-term vacation rentals, you can open up shop immediately and start welcoming people into your unit, and you can start doing vacation rentals. It is also known that vacation rentals do bring a higher margin when compared to long-term. You're not gonna own the property forever. You can still make money while owning it, right? While you have the lease. But in order to investigate these items, you have to do some research online to see how these rents are going for. Banks typically won't lend if the lease is less than 30 years because, banks, they prefer a longer term, just like a 30-year conventional loan, right? When a unit pops up and it is leasehold and you have a desire to own one of these, you have to be prepared to pay for it cash. You also need to know your utilities. The electricity is going to be a good portion of the bill since the electricity on this island tends to be on the higher side. So on top of all the other extra expenses, security fees, trash fees, insurance fees, obviously, the maintenance fees, right? So you have to really know your numbers. There's some complexes that do have solar panels and will reduce your electricity bill significantly, but understanding your bill will help you truly assess your fixed cost. If there's central AC included in your unit, you most likely won't need to deal with the maintenance of it because it is included in the HOA fees, but you have to double check with the association first. Also check how many common areas are in the building and what's included, right? So is there one or two pools? Is there a barbecue area? Is there a spa, right? So obviously, the more areas the complex has, the higher the maintenance fee. So just try to be more specific and double check on that. Assessments are extremely important. If the complex has not managed their capital properly or have done a research study that is recent, they often will show a high capital expenditure item. There are some projects who deal with pipe rebuildings, parking resurfacing, or sprinklers remediation. And when there is not enough money in reserves to cover all these expenses, the HOA ends up billing each unit individually, and they charge an assessment fee and they spread it among all the owners. So say there is a $10 million project in the works and then there are 250 units, the assessment could be $40,000 per unit. So this assessment also could be spread out in a 10-year plan or truly whatever the association decides, but it is just something that you have to be aware of. You should always get a copy of the HOA documentation to understand these fees and analyze any future projects to have a better understanding of the complex and how it's run. I always advise my clients to connect with the HOA directly if they're in need of understanding these association documentation, and also connect with the president of the board if he or she is able to answer all the questions, because all this happens in the due diligence period. There's litigation in complexes. This is not uncommon. So you have to check if there's any pending litigation that could result in the condo association increasing the fees. All of this can pop up on an HOA document package, and it is extremely important for you to double check. Let's talk about parking. Most of the parking spaces on these complexes are not deeded. In most cases, the association can reassign if they wanted to. So the size of the parking is also very important. Check if the space is compact or if it allows for bigger cars. The last thing you want to do is to show up in your huge truck and only to find out that you cannot park it in your new condo, right? In your new space. Let's talk about short-term vacation rentals. If the condo is zoned in an area where short-term vacation rentals are allowed, then you can just simply apply for an STVR permit if the unit doesn't have one and continue to operate, right? Open up shop. Keep in mind that some complexes do have some restrictions of the days of stay. In some cases, it will restrict you to a minimum amount of days that the unit can be rented. It could be 5 days, 7 days, 30 days, or 90 days. So you have to read these documents very, very carefully. Relaxation. If your goal is to come and relax in your condo, be aware that if the condo is resort zone, it can be rented via short term, right? And you will hear people on vacation. It will not be your relaxation trip that you were expecting it to, right? So if you are on the first floor, you will hear people coming in and out with their luggage going up the stairs. So it is very important that you align your goals right from the get-go. And then if you and I decide to work together, we'll go and run for the search. But these are super important things to consider. Another item is pets. Pets are in some condos are not allowed, right? And they have very, very strict regulations. They could allow pets that are up to 25 pounds, right? Or it's only one. There's some complexes that are very, very pet friendly, and those are good to go, but it is always good to research in advance so that you understand the complex parameters. Let's talk about smoking. This is huge. With common areas, there are some units that were grandfathered into smoking. If smoking is a huge issue for you, you need to really research and understand if the units around the unit that you're purchasing were grandfathered into smoking. Well, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this information. Feel free to reach out. Send me an email to schedule an online meeting to talk about all these factors, some of these condos that are actively listed on the market, to help you get a better visual and break it down to align with your goals and make sure that you guys are protected and understand what you guys are purchasing. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you on the next video. Aloha.